What is going on, everybody? I'm Aslan Hudjavandi. Who cares? That's Michael Langston. He's the recruiting analyst for Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminoles sports source. Won't you subscribe? Hit that little button to the lower right corner underneath Michael's to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell and get your notifications set however frequently and infrequently you'd like to be reminded of things, because we're cranking out lots of good stuff here on YouTube. You know the website. Warchant30 is a promo code. It's at the bottom of your screen. Michael, what else can they do to show some support to us?
Hit the like button, guys, for us. Helps us promote all these things. Certainly, we love it. It's easy. It's right there down to the left side. So just hit it for us and help us keep promoting these great videos.
We certainly would appreciate it. Recruiting chat coming up. Baseball content up on the website right now. They had fall baseball first day of it. Mike Martin Jr. and some of the players spoke to us. If you listen to the Wake Up Warchant podcast for tomorrow, I apologize. I had to breeze through it so I could get here in time. So let's not waste any time then, Michael, and talk about how things are going. Obviously on the field, suboptimal. However, you caught up with one of the more important pieces in this 2022 class, and that's A.J. Duffy, the quarterback. And Chavis Hunter went on Instagram Saturday. You spoke to A.J. Duffy, and despite that 0-3 start, there's not a lot of wavering going on.
No, there's not, and I think it speaks to what this staff does with the relationships. I mean, I think speaks to what they've told these kids before the year started, that hey, this is a rebuild. Yes, we probably didn't expect it to go 0-3, but I think they knew that hey, this is going to be a rebuild. This is why we're recruiting you, and I think, but your message has to be consistent, and I think that's why you haven't seen decommitments. I think all these guys know what they're coming into. They knew there was going to be a rebuild, whether some positive things happen or not during the season. I think kids knew that, and so I think AJ Duffy's comments kind of reflected that. If you listen to the stuff he said, he's like, "Look, the recruits don't care about the record. You know, it's like even AJ told me like, hey, we're here to change the record. You know, we're not. I can't control anything they're doing from playing at IMG Academy. So I think that's kind of the mindset of a lot of recruits is, yeah, they want to see growth, but at the same time, they understand like what they're coming into, that they're the class that's supposed to help it and keep continue to change it. And as AJ said at point blank in the headline, you know, I don't care what the record is. And I think a lot of the recruits share that same sentiment because of the consistent message from this FSU staff. I think that's very important to remember.
Go check it out. It's still up on our website, warchant.com. A.J. Duffy, 4-star quarterback, currently at IMG, Arizona product, though, rivals 100 prospect. It is a call-in show, Michael. I know you don't mind taking phone calls, so let's get to it then, shall we? Let's see who's first in the queue. Oh, look at that. Why didn't you know it? Virginia Beach, Virginia's own, the mayor of the 757 is Gator Kirk, everybody. Gator Kirk, good afternoon to you, man.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you doing? Let's get fired up about those future Noles that we're going to get. Number one recruiting show that we have right here.
Let's go.
Let's get pumped. Let's get pumped.
There you go. I mean, he's on some. I like it, Kirk. You're on some Red Bull. I like that stuff. No, it's a big weekend. Certainly, you know, some official visitors coming in. We just posted the story of the official visits coming in this weekend, and yeah, it's big. And let's get pumped up about what they have coming in, but also what they could possibly show as far as growth. Hopefully, there's some, you see some growth from week to week, and that's really it.
All right, here's my question for today. Hope you guys are doing well down in FLA. Should we possibly consider taking additional offensive line positions or recruits? Because for one, it's a position of need, and it seems like from the last few years, we suffer injuries that kind of hurt us during the year.
Well, right now they have 6, Kirk. So, I mean, that's a lot for a class. Most classes usually take 4 or 5. They're probably going to take a 7th. And then I would imagine, this is just my guessing, I haven't heard this specifically from my FSU context yet, they're probably going to take 1 or 2 from the transfer portal just to get immediate guys that will help him. So I think they've already, doing a good job as far as going over the number that they want. I think the main thing now is obviously getting kids to sign, and then if you do get 6 or 7, then maybe add a guy that's a potential that's a starter type that can help you, right away. Got some really young guys that I'm pretty excited about, on that offensive line that we haven't seen a lot, like Lloyd Willis. I'm pretty excited about him. I think I've heard some nice things about his development, and there's some other guys I'm probably forgetting, but I think you have some nice nucleus there, but you don't want to go overboard just because you have injuries during a season. You don't want to say, well, we got injuries this year. Yeah, but all those guys are going to be back next year. So you can't plan ahead that far ahead when it comes to injuries. But I think they're doing everything they need to do right when you have 6 commits, possibly 7 down the line if they can add one more for the high school market. And then assuming you keep those guys committed, and then you can add an 8th. I mean, eight linemen. That's a lot of offensive linemen in 1 year. So I think that would more than be enough. So that's kind of, I think they're on par for where they're trending with the offensive line position.
Heck, if we got that many of that, almost matched the tight end room.
Yeah.
Anyway,
touche.
Anyway, I appreciate you all taking my call. As always, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Join Warchant if you're not a member. There's so much content in there. I'm almost thinking about quitting my job just to keep up. Go Noles. Y'all have a great afternoon. Oh, and Aslan, he's back. He used the tagline this week. Y'all have a great day. Must have been the bamboo thing.
I saw your email, Gator Kirk. Yes, I forgot to. I should have brought that up on the podcast to comfort people that maybe the turnaround is going to happen Saturday, 3:30 against Louisville. But yes, he did. He did wish us all a great day on his way out Monday. So here's the bamboo sprouting overnight, my friend.
All right, y'all have a great night. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Kirk.
Absolutely. That's Gator Kirk. That was his 79th call on the Wake Up, or not the Wake Up, but the warchant.com family of shows, man. That's our guy right there. So we got other people in the queue, Michael, but we got people here with cold hard cash. How about our guy, Rob? Rob. His name on this pillar over here. Rob wants to get his name on this pillar. It's gonna happen sooner than later. 50. Rob, come on, man. Thank you. And Rob, before that, Michael was just telling everybody to hit the like button. Just look at that. Look at that.
Leader. That's what we need with FSU, leaders. That's a leader move by Rob. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, that's a question. Thanks, Rob. We appreciate the tip very much so, and we also like the questions that come along with it. Are there any of the recruits that are tied to Adam Fuller, Michael?
I think there's a lot of assisting from Adam Fuller. Now, there's places where he's the main recruiter, but the guy that the recruit talks to the most is probably somebody else. So I don't think there's a guy. Yeah, I get what his questions is getting to. If you don't have Fuller anymore, is it going to cost you some recruit, or is there a recruit that's just tied to him that we won't get if he leaves? I don't think there's a guy in there in their class that they have, or the ones that they're recruiting that they lose that guy. Or Fuller leaves, they're not going to get him. I don't think there's a guy in the class that I've seen or know about that they're recruiting that. Now he is a big part of assisting to a lot of things, but he's not like, there's not like a Chavis Hunter in there with Marcus Woodson type of guy, if that's what you're asking.
Good to know. Good to know. Thank you for the question again, Rob. Thanks for the tip. Thank you for that answer, Michael. Good to hear that kind of stuff. Let's see here. We got Nikki Willis Somerset. Just want to say thanks for all the hard work on the recruiting trail, Michael.
I appreciate that, Nikki. It's not gonna lie, it's challenging. It's very challenging when things are like this, but it also makes it a little more comfortable when you hear stuff from the commits the way it has. I mean, you're an 0-3 team. You've lost to Jacksonville State. It's the worst loss you've ever had in FSU's history. Probably the most embarrassing loss. And there's still no decommitment. So that tells you a lot. That alone should get FSU fans somewhat jacked up of the job that these guys are doing with these recruits as far as relationships and what the vision is. So that tells you a lot, I think, right there. Obviously, everyone, including myself and Aslan, want to see some wins. I mean, everyone wants to see a win, some positive stuff for FSU, and it's certainly my pleasure. Mickey, good or bad, I don't care if they lose every game. I'm never going to stop pushing hard and doing what I do. So I do appreciate those comments, and I'm going to keep plugging along, and there's nothing that my passion's not going to stop. Obviously, it could get challenging, both for me, Ira, Corey, Gene, Aslan, all this team stuff. It could be challenging, but we're going to push through, and we're going to give you guys the best coverage that you deserve. I mean, and that's not going to change.
I don't know. Speak for yourself, Michael. I'm gonna hit the road for a little bit if they go 0-12, man. I might go on an island for a little bit, and then come back spring football or something. But no, yeah, man. Michael's is working hard. It's hard to grab hold of recruits, especially during their football season. But Michael's able to get a hold of all these guys because of the relationships he's developed with them over time. So we appreciate everything that Michael does, and thank you for appreciating Michael the way you just did right there, Nikki. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Let's go to a phone call, shall we, Mike? Let's get back to the phone line. Let's go to a little place called Thomasville, but not Georgia. Let's go to Thomasville, North Carolina. Let's talk to our guy, Daryl.
Daryl,
what's up, man? How are you, friend?
How you doing, Ezra? How you doing, Michael? Hope y'all having a great afternoon in there in Tallahassee, Florida. We're doing pretty good here in Thomasville, North Carolina. I know it was good to hear these guys, coming out and saying that they're still, fully on board with Florida State, and that always, makes things, feel a lot better. I was wondering about this the linebacker coming in, this weekend. What is it, something or something like that? The linebacker out of Miami. Yeah, if he has a good weekend, and Florida State shows him a good time and everything, and if Florida State does show well on the football field, and good God willing, we do surprise everybody in the college football world. We come out with a good win. Does that help Florida State maybe in maybe pulling? We do need linebackers. Does that help him? Maybe help him. With Florida State.
yeah, thanks for the question, Daryl. Obviously, it'd be very big. That's why he's coming in, because he believes in the vision of what the staff's doing. But naturally, they need to show a good product, and that would certainly help them. If they go out there, the linebackers perform well. I just put up our official visit preview. Really tells you the things that I think that are keys to the Wesley visit. A lot of that is revolved around, hey, seeing some explosive plays from your linebackers, defense looking good, making some plays, and then certainly if you get a win, it's going to have a positive effect. Now, he's going to take all 5 official visits. I think he took one to Miami last weekend, so that couldn't have been that pleasant. How Miami got smashed by Michigan State. So, and then you got Florida, I think Southern Cal, and there's one more team in there. I'm probably for Penn State. I think is in there as well. So, yeah, he's still got visits left. I think this is a really good chance for FSU to prove it weekend. Even though you're 0-3, you got a chance to show him what your product can be and show some just improvement of where you're going, certainly on the field. And I think, yeah, obviously if they have a really good day, that's definitely a positive development with Wesley. I think FSU and Miami had the best relationships there. Obviously Florida's having a good season. Penn State's having a good season. Southern Cal, yeah, we'll see what they do during the season. But I think this could be very pivotal for FSU in a positive way, or even a negative way as far as their chances if things go really well. Certainly in a positive way, we'll stick with the positive that, yeah, if they show a good performance, the linebackers are active, defense as well, team gets the win. I think that's a big deal because I think Wesley already feels very comfortable with the staff, very comfortable with Chris Marv. Sabbath Joseph is on the staff. He was a former coach of Wesley's at Miami Central. So there's a lot of guys that he knows that are at FSU. So when you have that positive development on the field, I think the other stuff is kind of going to take care of itself as far as his comfort. So yeah, it's definitely a big visit weekend to show some positive reflections of this team on the field.
Right, and another thing is, I was at the game this past weekend at Wake Forest, and I noticed, when we're on defense, with Wake Forest, when they threw them long passes, it seemed like we was getting beat on a lot of those deep passes. Do we have anybody, I guess, is already committed or that we're looking at that can, maybe that has the speed to keep up with some of these receivers that are beating us on them deep passes?
Well, you have Chavis Hunter, and he's on the way. I mean, I don't think it gets better than the number one player in the country, but I think Travis will help.
I mean, besides him.
Well, besides Travis, okay. Well, I'll have him pull. I'll have to have Aslan pull up the commit list, but I think he's the main one so far. Cornerback, they're pretty loaded as far as the guys they already have and that they got from last year's class. I mean, don't forget you got guys like Hunter Washington, Cheyenne Brown. These are all freshmen. These are true freshmen. Obviously, got Sam McCall. That's one that's coming in. He's a 4-star prospect, Routes 100. He's going to play the cornerback, / safety position, so he can do that. But I mean, first thing they have to do, just to your point, these guys can cover, Daryl. Okay, these guys can cover, but they're doing things that are uncomfortable for them in whatever scheme they're running. Like for that play you mentioned in the first quarter, they ran I think Wake ran the ball and got like a 2nd and 2, and then the next play, Jarvis Brownlee gets beat deep for a deep ball, probably because FSU was expecting run, and they had the run defense in, and it was 1-on-1. But guys just got to make plays, and they got to find a comfortable medium for these guys, for these players, and that's what Fuller and Mike Norvell and the staff, they got to figure out execution-wise, what can these kids do? And so that's what they got to find. I know these kids. I mean, a lot of these kids are kids that top schools wanted, so we know these kids can cover. We know they're good. We know Travis Jay's good. We know Jarvis Brownlee's good. A lot of teams wanted these kids, but they got to put them in more comfortable situations, and at the end of that, the kids got to make plays. So there is talent there, and I get what you're saying because there was a lot of several plays that happened where they were open, but you can't put all that on just they're just getting beat and they're not good. There's certain aspects to it where it's the players, coaches, positions of what they're doing, schemes they're running. So they got to figure out something that works that puts these guys in a much more comfortable position because they do not look like the same team defensively in the secondary that they did in the Notre Dame game. Like in the Notre Dame game, they're in position to make plays on the ball. Now it looks like there's some confusions, there's breakdowns, and that's what Fuller and the staff have to figure out. But to your credit, Sam McCall, Chavis Hunter, those are your guys that are coming in.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Y'all do a good job each and every week, and we do appreciate y'all putting out this content for us, and y'all do an absolutely great job. Thank you, Aslan, for directing this thing, and Michael, you do an absolutely wonderful job, keeping us up to date with this recruiting, and y'all, I sure do appreciate it. Because up here in Carolina, we sure don't get nothing on Florida State up here, that's for sure. And thank you, thank you for doing a great job. And I say, go Noles. I've been pulling for Florida State since '67. I ain't going nowhere. I'm Florida State all the way. I'm guarding gold till I die. And so I say, go Noles, and let's beat Louisville. God bless.
There you go.
Oh, that doesn't make you want to run through a wall. What will? That's Daryl, Thomasville, North Carolina, in the house.
Thanks,
Thank you, Daryl. Appreciate it, man. Also, somebody asked Norvell on Wednesday about Omarion Cooper, and Omarion Cooper is a guy that he said has been, picking up his play recently. So that's somebody that hasn't been in the mix in the defensive backfield that maybe, who knows, something good could possibly happen by him being able to get back involved in the mix. So something to think about. All right, let's see here. Eric Angel's here, everybody. Thank goodness. Been worried sick about you, Eric. Nothing. Just go Noles. He does have a question. There we go. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Who's the next commitment, Michael?
I would love to tell you, Eric. I don't know yet. Obviously, it would help the situation if they start winning. So then you can start to see some movement right while we're kind of in the standstill. But Elijah Pritchett's coming up on September 28th. I still think there's a really good shot. I don't have enough to make me move off that to move off. I don't think FSU has a really good chance. I think they do. They're right there. Talk to Alabama people, and there's not like there's beaming with confidence that they're definitely going to get them. So I think FSU has a real shot, and the reason being is I think he understands what FSU's building. Kind of fits the mindset of a lot of these recruits, commits that are already there, that they understand what the vision is. They understand it's a rebuild, but certainly I think progress on the field these next few weeks will certainly help him. But yeah, Elijah Pritchett, I guess, would be one that I would mention. But besides that, it's kind of just up in the air. The rest of them are kind of one, wait and see, and then two, we have to wait and see what improvement or growth that we see from FSU going forward.
Would you agree or disagree with this statement, Michael, that the losses really haven't affected the commitments that much?
Right.
But it's certainly impacting the guys that are on the fence, that are uncommitted, that are out there.
Right. I think that's a fair statement, Aslan. I think the main thing is you're trying to win people in. So it's hard to win people in if you're not, winning on the field. Now, granted, it's three games, and it's three terrible games as far as losses of losing. Obviously, the last two are the most, worst because they just look like there was just a lot of confusion. So yeah, certainly winning on the field, that's what you want to do to, to add to your class. And I'm not saying they won't add to the class, but right now it's kind of a standstill because they believe in everything their division is, but you have to see some kind of growth on the field to help that situation. You don't have to be, that's the thing, you don't have to be 7 or 8 wins or 9 wins. They just want to see growth where I think these guys just need to win. Like if they just win, that will have a positive effect overall in recruiting.
Absolutely. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate the tip. Thank you for the question as well. Jacob Wilson asks, any odds on taking a second quarterback?
Yeah, Jacob, I don't see them taking a second quarterback right now. I haven't heard any names. I think they're pretty darn happy with AJ Duffy and what they have there. So I don't anticipate a second quarterback right now. If it is, it will probably be more of an athletic, not so much pure passer, but athletic guy that they can fit into there. But right now, I don't think there's any names or plans for a second quarterback at this stage.
All right. You've mentioned and talked about this before, Michael, about the expectations that were set by the staff going into the season. Joseph Stewart asks, do you think, and I'm assuming he's talking about the coaching staff, do you think they were honest with them being the recruits, I assume, at the beginning and said they wouldn't be good?
Absolutely. I think they've told them from the start this is a rebuild. Excuse me. I think they've told them. I know personally. I'm not going to say what recruits told me, but I know commits that have told me specifically of a certain amount of win total that they thought FSU would be, and let's just say it's lower than most think. And so I think they expected to know that this is a rebuild. Now they expect to lose to Jacksonville State, probably not, but they understood this is going to be a work in progress. So I think they were very direct, and I think it speaks to the fact that the way Chavis Hunter is and the way AJ Duffy is, and a lot of these commits, how they are, because when you're straight with them, I would be concerned if you weren't straight with them if we saw a lot of decommits. So what that tells me right now is they've been very direct about the process of what this is going to be, and I don't think they promised them some fool's gold or promised land, unicorns and rainbows that everything's going to be fine. FSU's going to win 9 games and they're going to be great. Like they knew it was going to be a process of rebuilding. There could be some ups and downs, and right now we're just experiencing all downs. But I think the coaches were very direct, and I know this personally because commits told me this before the season even started. Commits on that, and I would say over 10 commitments on that list told me that. So they pretty much expected that there was going to be a process of rebuilding.
All right. Thanks for the question, Joseph. Thank you for the explanation on that, Michael. Do appreciate it. So there was a question here. I'm like, it should pop up. Yeah. Let's go Buffalo 1. Hey, Michael, from what you saw from Destin Hill as a recruit, who will be a freshman still on paper, right? Next season in a sophomore type body, do you think he'll have an instant impact?
Yeah, I think he'll make an impact, similar, even more higher than Malik McLean of what we've seen. Obviously, Malik's got a lot of exciting things that we've seen, but I think the thing with Destin is Destin's a more polished guy in overall and everything. Route running, he's going to get you separation. He catches everything. Um, I think his impact is going to be very early. I'm not going to say, oh, he's going to be a starter the moment he gets there, but I think he will be an early impact guy because he gives them something they don't get enough of. Besides they get separation with Malik McLean, but there's not a lot of guys that consistently get separation all the time on the field. But I think with Destin Hill, he definitely does that. He's going to add a lot to that team. Playmaker in every sense of the word, and he knows what to do after the catch. And so definitely an early guy should go out there and make a sudden impact.
There we go. Thanks for the question. Let's go Buffalo 1. Thomas Giddings, thank you for the tip there. Says he hopes that the FSU hockey shirts didn't. Now, your good gesture has not created any bad animus in the universe, Thomas. But
There you
Corey,
go.
I do appreciate. Maybe I need to. Hey, man, Michael, hit the mute button below if you feel you're going to cough.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
Right, he's playing hurt, man. We're all out here, man. The team's hurt. Michael's hurt.
Yeah.
We're out here just sucking it up for everybody.
Yeah,
no,
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I'll wear it next time. I'll get.
Yeah, no, we're good. I've been dealing with a sinus infection since probably the Jacksonville State game, so it's almost gone, guys. But I'll definitely do that.
Let's see here. Jeff Mayers asks, is there an allure for recruits to being part of this group in class that successfully returns this program to an elite level?
Yeah, there's an allure. I mean, I think a lot of the prospects feel like, hey, we're what's going to turn this team. I mean, because this is a very elite class. I mean, it's a top 10 class. I mean, you got a lot of big time guys that are impact get guys right away, like Chavis Hunter, Sam McCall, AJ Duffy, Rodney Hill. All these guys, I think, can come in there and really help your team on. So there is an allure, but to go on that allure, to add more guys, you have to show some sort of growth. It doesn't need to be a lot, but there needs to be some. And right now, the last 2 weeks, there's nothing, if I'm a recruit, to cling on except for I believe in the vision and I could get on the field early and I could help turn it around, but I'm not seeing like what they are now. I mean, that's kind of the main way I answer it. But yes, there is a lure there to grab recruits.
Thanks for the question, Jeff. Scott asks, Michael, do you think, and we're going to get to Wes. Wes is hanging on the phone line. Sorry, Wes. We'll get to you right after this. Scott June asks, Michael, do you think we can still have a top 10 recruiting class? I want your honest opinion.
Well, if I'm basing it on what I've seen so far, probably not. I would say no. My honest opinion, Scott, is no, based on what I've seen. But at the same time, they're, I think, number 6 overall now. They've still got several guys. If they turn around, start showing some positive team on the productivity on the field, then my answer would probably change on that, and I would go like, yeah, I could see it. I would say between 10 to 15 is where I'm looking at, but you have to show something if you want to move up or stay in your current position. I think it's great. It seems like almost all those kids are committedly solid. They're on board. I think it's really big. Your 2 leaders and Travis, AJ, they're letting the gauntlet down. Like, hey, I don't care if they lose every game. We're in. We're coming. So I think that's big. So you have leaders in the class, but at the same time, I think you have to go out there and you have to show some growth if you want to continue to rise that class up. And so that's my honest answer, Scott. I think right now I would teeter towards no.
Is there a deadline, though, Michael, on when you want to start seeing this growth? I mean, they could look good against, I guess, maybe like Miami, Boston College, and Florida, but at that point it's November and the well might be too poisoned by then, or could you salvage things that later? I mean, is it they got to start getting busy here in the next week or two and start doing something?
I think it needs to happen in the next few weeks. I mean, I think we need to see something this weekend because it's, you're coming to a point where Yeah, you're going to run out of games eventually. So, I mean, 3 games, okay. It's not been how people wanted, but I think this weekend, getting the win. You win here, you're 1-3. You win next week against Syracuse, you're 2-3, and this sets up a big, tough matchup with North Carolina. But you're at least 2-3 going in that, and you've shown some growth of where you're going. So win that game, then you come back home, you play UMass, you're 4-3. So yeah, there's a time, but I think this is the pivotal time in the next few weeks. I think they have to show something. These next 2 home games, I think there needs to be shown the growth. Otherwise, it's just you're going to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Thanks for the question, Scott. Let's hop to the phone line as advertised. Let's grab Wes from the Villages. This is his 44th call in Warchant.com programming history. Wes, good afternoon to you. How are you, man?
What up, Aslan? What's going on, Michael?
How you doing, babe?
Doing well. Hey, I've been multitasking while I was on hold, so I apologize in advance if my question has been asked or covered. I got something in reserve. But, there's been a lot of talk about potentially a coordinator or two being replaced, and I think it's more likely that Dilly stays and Fuller goes. If he were to be let go in the middle of part of the season or at season's end, does it impact one way or the other, good or bad, or is it just they'll get somebody else and just keep going in the positive direction with recruiting?
Well, I think with Dillingham, it would certainly have a negative effect because AJ Duffy, that's his main guy. So yeah, it could affect him. But my take on that, and this is personal feeling, I don't think you can really evaluate Dilly until you have somebody at quarterback that you can evaluate and stick with. So you need one guy out there to see who it is. So we haven't seen what the offense is. I think Fuller's a different situation because you've gone through a year and a half of this stuff, and it doesn't seem like in. And I don't think he's really going to impact things that much. I don't think Fuller's impact would hurt it that much. I think Dilly would cause some waves.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think Dilly. I don't think he's going anywhere. I was more focused on Fuller.
Yeah.
I agree on Dilly.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my thing. And it's a volatile situation. The
Right.
other thing I had for you guys is that being in the stands for that Notre Dame game, it's easy to see. Of course, we talked about the amount of recruits there and the impact, positive impact that game and that environment made. My question is with the product that's been on the field the last few weeks, if home attendance were to take a big dip and you got, obviously not as many visitors, but you still got visits coming up, how much of an impact if the stadium is not rowdy and, not majority full, do you think it'll have a huge impact on the recruits or no?
I mean, a little bit, but not a lot. It is a little bit, but I think it's more the kids are focused on, the feeling around the people they're around and also the game itself. I think the game itself would have a bigger impact than just if it's, you go from, that crazy atmosphere for Notre Dame to like 60,000 or 55,000. I don't think it's going to really dramatically affect a kid from choosing a team or choosing FSU. I think your product and how he feels around the coaches and players and the comfort level is the bigger thing as far as that. But yeah, I'd say a little.
I got you. One last thing. So it's clear to me that, and I think just about everybody, that Norvell and the staff, specifically Norvell, is selling this 22 class and hasn't pulled the wool over their eyes, has been very transparent with where the program is at and where they're going. It says a lot that, there hasn't been any decommits in the last couple of weeks, because you got to believe, had they went a different route, which would have been easy to do, maybe other staffs would have done so, that there would have been decommitment. So I think it says a lot about the level of commitment and the guys coming out and putting out videos or doing interviews. I've seen several, Duffy and some of the offensive line commits and that. So I think my hope is that this season they can turn it around and, like you said, show some improvement, win a few games, be competitive, show some progress. And I'd like to think the majority of that class will stick. If they don't get better, then you wouldn't be surprised if you lose a few. But I feel like no matter what, as long as they just don't lay an egg the rest of the year, that the majority of that class will stick, at least the key pieces. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's very fair and correct. And I mean, my thing is, like, I think the kids want to see growth, but I don't think it's like a necessity. Like, oh, I'm not going to Florida State if they go whatever the record. I don't think they're. I think they're more so. I want to see more growth, so I know, what I'm coming into, where we're at. But I think they all know it's a situation, it's a process. But I think really it's just a fair thing. Is just if you show some growth, it takes away that part of even leaving any doubt with other commits when you do that. So I know FSU's doing everything they can do, and now it's just about just showing an improved product on the field. And I think it's very telling, as far as the comments from these commits. And as I said from the start of this show, it tells you a lot about what FSU has told these recruits from the start of the year, and it tells you what their message was, and also the vision of where they're going.
Excellent. Aslan, thanks for taking my call. You guys are the only ones I would stay on hold 30 minutes for and wait around. So I appreciate you getting to me. Anybody else, it would have been over quicker. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. You guys, everybody, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. You definitely subscribe to that YouTube channel. The amount of content on there is off the charts. It's all good stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to warchant.com. Let's support the Noles. Y'all have a good evening. Go Noles.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Wes.
Man, everybody, hit that thumbs up button. We certainly would appreciate it. Please, again, do hit the thumbs up button. Phone line's still open. Number's scrolling. Well, it was scrolling, but it's at the bottom of your screen right there. 850-805-5911 if you want to get involved here in the programming. We got a question from Hector Cartagena. I didn't even read it. I just popped it up. Hopefully something bad. Obviously, the recruits have been told what to expect behind the doors. Duffy seems to think the team will eventually click, so I'm optimistic to say the least. We don't know what is said behind closed doors. Yeah, it's fair. Right? It's fair.
I mean, we don't know. Obviously, I'm not there with all these post press conferences like Aslan, Ira, and all these guys. So, I mean, but if you read to the stuff, it seems like to me they're doing stuff in practice that it's not showcasing in games. Now, there's some things that teams are doing that kind of catch them by surprise a little bit sometimes, but I think for the most part, these players are not doing what they do in practice. Not executing to the point of the way that they do in games, and that's kind of the takeaway I have from that. Yeah, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I have no idea. Only Norvell and the staff probably know that, but yeah, there's certainly things to be optimistic about. The team does show flashes at times, but it's just not enough in a big sample to certainly help them get wins right now. So hopefully we see that this week. That's all you can do, Hector, and get back to work.
So how many officials do they have coming? They got 3 this week.
3, yeah, 3 official visitors.
How does I mean, it's a weird kind of game to have them visit. I would assume these players, kind of just the way their schedule works, they can only make it this weekend. So you say yes, and you're kind of at their mercy.
Yeah, most of them have all been set up for a while. Wesley Basante, that's been set up for a while, probably several months. And then same thing with Earl Little. These all been done for a while. I think the last one that I put on there, that was kind of a new one to me. I didn't know that official was set up. I'm not going to say who, since the story's right there for everyone to read. But I think they were all pretty planned well. It wasn't just. I don't think these are just last minute, setup visits for FSU or these prospects. So definitely got a good chance to impress Aslan. I mean, got a really good chance to impress people, and another opportunity for FSU to show where they're going with their growth, and hopefully we see more than just flashes. We see a consistent pattern of explosive plays for FSU.
Yeah, let's climb. Let's show them where we're at in the climb here. All right. Questions starting to dwindle down a little bit. Phone call or phone line still open. We'll see if we can get something else jump started here. John McKnight asks, by the way, Wesley, 44 total calls, Wes. John McKnight, how much of a focus is Norvell going to have on the transfer portal again this year as opposed to bringing in freshmen?
Well, I think freshman is his first priority. But yeah, there's going to be guys in the portal he brings in. I think there's going to be a strong focus again. I didn't think it'd be as high, but with an 0-3 start, you obviously have holes that these guys aren't feeling what you want. So I think definitely there's going to be some focus on certain positions. I don't know what positions yet because it's hard for me to decide where they're going yet until they decide until they figure out who they're going to get that are in the high school market. But certainly, yeah, John, that's going to be a place there. I think they're fairly active with. Yeah, I'd say around 4 or 5. I mean, that would be my guess, but we'll see.
What's going on tomorrow night, Michael? Where are the big games at? Valdosta playing Lowndes, I heard?
Yeah, there's actually a few good games. Valdosta playing Lowndes. That's always a good one. Another good game is Lake Gibson plays Sarasota Riverview. And
I like
so
that.
that one's a pretty good one. I think Lake Gibson's coming off that big rivalry win over Lakeland. And then, Lake Gibson obviously has, Jalen Glover, Sam McCall, Kermani McLean, all those type of guys. And then Sarasota Riverview has a few FSU targets on it. Both of them are actually visiting FSU this weekend. Wide receiver Jerron Glover, and he is the best player you probably haven't heard of in the state of Florida. He's really good. He's committed to Michigan. J-Ron Glover. He's a 3-star wide receiver from Sarasota Riverview, and certainly he's a guy I'm pretty high on. I like his game a lot. And then you also have his teammate. He's even better than him. Charles Lester. Just remember that name. 2024 DB. This kid is phenomenal. Both of them are going to be in Tallahassee this weekend to check out FSU. So another chance to, I think that should be a pretty good game. So those are some of the games I know off the top of my head.
Charles Lester the third, man. Proud, strong lineage. 4-star cornerback. Todd Johnson, he's not the head coach at Riverview anymore, is he? Or is he still there?
No, I think Josh Smithers is the head coach now at Riverview. I don't know where he's at now. I think, but I think his offensive coordinator at Riverview is, I want to say Todd Haley that coached at Pittsburgh.
Really?
The former guy.
Chiefs.
Yeah,
the Steelers.
Yeah. I think he's there at the Riverview. So that's definitely a plus. So interesting, but yes, Charles Lester's big time. People need to remember that name. Grew up liking FSU a lot, so there's a chance to impress, and I think this type of game could really help. But this kid's special. He's a good one. He's going to be the one that a lot of people talk about. I know it's so far away in 2024, but he's definitely a name to remember.
Thanks for the question, John. Appreciate it. Shout out to In the Wind 2. Don't give up yet, Nole fam. A true warrior fights until the end. 24-21 FSU hashtag roasted bird week. Where are you at in your prediction, Michael?
Yeah, thing is, I've watched Louisville for the past few weeks. That's not a great team. That's a very winnable game for FSU. They have a quarterback he runs very well in Malik Cunningham. He's a very good runner. He is extremely inconsistent as a passer. So if you find a way to get pressure and cause mistakes, he can throw you some picks. He's going to be airing it with his throws. Obviously, their defense has given up a lot of points. You look at the last few games, they're averaging giving up around 30. So, FSU can score if they can get their offensive woes figured out. And if they can stick with one quarterback, I think would really help their situation. I think you would see a different definitely noticeable difference if FSU stuck with one guy. So you can get a flow on offense, because right now they just don't have a rhythm because you got two different quarterbacks. Jordan's a different type of guy than Mackenzie Milton. So you have to block different. You run stuff different. So I think if you stick with one guy and just see what he can do, whoever it is, I think it'll make a big impact. But I don't know a score prediction yet. I don't want to think about that tonight, but it's definitely, I think, a very winnable game for FSU. Since I picked FSU to win all three of those, I'm probably just going to pick them to lose. That way they'll probably win.
There we go.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Richie Price, how do you think we're looking with Pritchett and Armella?
I already discussed Pritchett, so I already went in detail about him. And Armella, it's kind of the same thing. He's going to take official visits. I think he's likely to come over for FSU for one of those official visits. The favorite, LSU, is struggling. Although if Alabama gets involved and Alabama pushes, they're going to be tough to beat because Alabama's Alabama, and it's going to be hard to compete with that. But I think they're right there in the mix. But I don't think there's a lot changed until he starts going actively on these official visits. But certainly the start doesn't help. But it certainly lowers down the momentum of what they had because there was so much momentum in the Notre Dame game. But as long as he visits on that Miami visit weekend, I definitely think there's a shot. And LSU isn't exactly lighting the fire up either, but they do have a win. So that's the difference. But I think it's really it's a wait and see with his visit coming up. We have to see how he reacts after some visits because he hasn't really gone anywhere.
Thanks for the question, Richie. The Oz, if Wizards, does Ron Dugans have any strong ties to any top recruits? Seemed that position group has not performed well under his watch.
Yes, he's always has great ties to all the kids, all the receivers they're active with. I wouldn't just put all that blame on him. Players got to make plays, and you got a chance to catch the ball, you got to catch the ball. That's my biggest complaint with the receivers is when the play's there, they're just not catching it. When you got to make plays. That's what this game is. Football is about making plays. So I wouldn't put all that blame on. I know what you're saying. It's like it's just the group not doing it, but that was not supposed to be a strength of group anyway going into this year. What they have, Malik McLean has developed and emerged. I saw some things with Malik that's different than what I saw in high school. So there's development there, but you're just not getting the production that you want. And at the end of the day, results are the results, and these receivers have to start making plays for their coaches and their team. So I think they're capable of doing that. I like some of these guys. I think they can do that, but I think at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to say, look, guys, you just got to make plays. And I think that's really it. But yeah, I don't think removing Dugans, if you're hinting at that, Oz, is really going to be the direction you want to go, at least right now, especially as the first year, because this is essentially the first year. Last year was just a mess. There was couldn't really get a feel for any team as far as the season, but I'm sure that's something that Coach Norvell will evaluate for the whole year. Now, if we don't see improvement through the whole year and it's just devastatingly terrible, then yeah, maybe that's something they look into. But right now, I just think you got to continue to get good talent in there and put these kids in position to make plays. I think Dugans is doing that, and these kids just got to make plays.
Johnny Burkett, what about 3-star Wade Woodaz? Is he coming this weekend?
I don't even know who that is, Johnny. I would have to research that.
I should look that. It might be a fake name. He might be trolling me. Let me see.
Yeah, that's a new one to me, but I'll
I can look it up. Oh yeah, he exists. He goes to Jesuit High School, Tampa.
Okay.
6'3", 205. Maybe that's his guy. I don't know, Johnny. If you find out, let us know. We'll see what we can dig up. Winding things down here, Mike Blackburn, do you think 7-on-7 gets too much credit for determining actual on-field talent? Seems FSU cashed in on big-time 7-on-7 players with stars, but talent doesn't translate on the field when they get to FSU. Is it all 7-on-7's fault?
Well, I think everyone feels that way, Mike, when you're losing. It's like if FSU's 2-1, does everyone say that? Probably not. To your point, I'm not a big 7-on-7 guy, so I don't like it. It's not really football. There's no tackling, there's no physicality, there's no scheming. Receivers can run routes like 100 different zigzag routes, and DBs have to cover people for like 2 minutes, it seems. So, I mean, that's not realistic. That's not football type situations. But it is some part where it helps because you get receiver, quarterback timing. The timing's down. You have to get timing down. And you have big plays, either at the defensive back position or the receiver position. Don't think you really tell a lot by a linebacker except that they can cover in space. So, yeah, there's certain limitations. I don't think FSU's evaluating these kids on 7-on-7 play, Mike. They're evaluating on these guys as a combination of what they're doing in film, what they've studied, what things they like that fit into the system. I don't think they're taking a kid because they were great in 7-on-7. They're taking them because they're playmakers. You break down all their film, everything they do is playmakers. But I understand you feeling that way because, yeah, they are 0-3. So the results are the results. We can't change that. They are a 0-3 team. That's what they are until they change that. But as far as evaluation tools, I would give this staff a lot of credit. Their ability to spot talent has been on point so far from what I've seen.
Jeff Burrow says you should have your own show.
I thought that's what I was doing.
That's what I thought you were doing as well. Douglas Adi asks, the front page shows Skinner 50%, Marvin Jones Jr. 100%. Is Skinner a take if he wanted to commit to us? What do you expect our chances are for Marvin Jones Jr.?
Skinner is not a take. He's not in the picture with FSU
Oh,
anymore.
okay. All right. I'm about to say.
We went
But
into.
if he changed his mind and called you up tomorrow and says he wants to come, you take him, right?
I would, but I'm not an FSU coach, so it doesn't matter what I want.
All
But
right.
apparently something did not go right on that official visit. I would say near the end of it, that really rubbed FSU the wrong way. I was told, like, we're not sure we're going after him after that. But I was like, that's kind of odd. So I just kind of not said anything. And then later found out last week, which we reported on our on the message boards, that I don't anticipate FSU going forward with that one. There's certain guys that fit their culture, what they're looking for, and I don't think, or just fits in general, and I don't think Skinner fits that. Now, as far as MJJ, he's taking an official visit to Oklahoma this weekend. He's got an official to FSU. Oklahoma's really the first official that he's taken, so I don't think you're going to see any change until multiple visits are taken, at least 2 or 3, and then we can kind of get a better feel. I wouldn't change my forecasts on Marvin Jones. I would keep it where it is. I still feel he's very impressed by what he saw in the Notre Dame game. Obviously, his last 2 weeks have been pretty crappy, but he's going to evaluate the product for a full year. But I think it's kind of a standstill as far as I don't think there's anybody that has done anything to overtake FSU, but certainly they got to pick up the pace on the field. That's how I feel about their chances. I think if you continue to lose a lot of games, it makes it more challenging to reel him in, because I think they got a lot of stuff working for him. But if you continue to lose to teams you shouldn't lose to, it's going to dip that chances to drop lower and lower.
All right. That's about wraps it up here. Shout out to the big homie, though, James B, dropping in some doll hairs last minute, the buzzer.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Scott jumped him on the questions. This hopes you feel better, Michael. Thanks for the great
Thank you.
job.
I'm almost there. I'm in the final part of it. Thanks, James. And it's both me and Diane's got something different. She's sick, so we're just trying to fight through this, just like everyone's fighting through the season. But we're near the end of it, at least for mine. So I'm almost there, but I appreciate all the well wishes. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, James. Thank you, In the Wind. Thank you, Hector, Thomas Giddings, Eric, Nikki, and Rob. We appreciate it. Everybody, thanks for being here, tuning in, asking questions. Phone calls, Wes, Daryl, Gator Kirk. If you get that thumbs up on the way out, we certainly would appreciate it. Michael will have your Friday night rewind for you first thing Saturday morning, so do stay connected to warchant.com for that. We'll have some game predictions also going up on the site here later on. And don't forget, Jeff Cameron's show closing out the week, 1 to 3 o'clock Friday right here on Warchant TV. For Michael Maslon, thanks so much for watching the Warchant.com Recruiting Call-In Show with